Right, so it gets dressed more and more. It's nice. I love the look of it. So what have I done since the last update? Yeah, we installed the fan. I installed this alternator. I put the fan in the pulley. I had to take the key from another one because this one was missing the key. So we assembled it. The belt is on. Before that, I run the fuel line from the fuel pump up to here. I don't know how to bend it here, so I'm gonna bend the rest when the alternator comes. What else? Here on this side we installed the pump, we installed the distributor. The distributor I cleaned up, the one that was super dirty, and inside here this wire was stripped. It was like insulated with cloth, and I just touched it and it fell apart. So I changed this wire and I tested everything here. It works well. So I just put it in place, but it's not tightened because we're gonna have to take it out to prime the oil system. The fuel pump, like I said, I don't know if it works, so I'm not gonna clean it before I know it's working. We're missing ignition coil. We're gonna have to find one. We're gonna have to run the oil line for the gauge. This now I can turn around a little bit. Looks like vertical is the best position for the oil filter adapter. We got oil filter here and oil, so I got Valvoline VR1 20W50 with high zinc for the engine. I got oil for the diff. It is 75W, full synthetic, supposedly GL5. I don't see anywhere saying GL5. So that's what we're gonna put in the diff. And I also got a filter. So Wix 51348, that was listed as a replacement filter on the old one. Here I still don't have the gasket. I'm gonna have to put the gasket, but I still want to have access here after we prime the oil system, so I can position the engine in top dead center of the first cylinder. So yeah, we're gonna have to put gasket here. And I think we are mostly done with the engine part. I think next we should install the transmission, mount it at the back, run the prop shaft or drive shaft, and soon we're gonna be ready to start it. I just need to find the coil. Anyways, so that's where we are. Let me try and install the transmission now. So the transmission is an overdrive transmission. As you may know, it's not the original transmission of the car. We bought it years ago, like I don't even remember, 2 or 3 years ago. We bought it because it had the A-type overdrive and it was unknown condition. So I took apart the overdrive. There's a complete series about rebuilding this overdrive and another one at the same time. So I'll put a link here to those series. And yeah, so it is completely rebuilt overdrive. I tested it, it worked fantastic. There was a crack here on the housing and that got welded and it has absolutely no issues now. It's like a new transmission. Anyways, but at that time I checked the overdrive, I checked if it was shifting well on the table, but I haven't checked this end here. So now I came to check it because there are two common problems here that happen often, and one of them is this pin which is missing on this fork. There's a bolt here that fixes the fork to the shaft and that snaps very often. And the other problem is that these two pins here, or guides, or I don't know what they're called, that go inside the release bearing carrier, sometimes these two pins get a flat part on one side. So here somebody's already fixed one of the problems in a way that it's ridiculous, but there's nothing that I can do about it. As you can see here, the fork has been fully welded to the shaft and on this side as well. So I have no choice but to trust that these welds are good and they're not gonna snap. Of course, now this shaft is unremovable from there, but as long as it holds, we don't have a reason to remove it. So these two tabs, as you can see here, this one is a little bit flat here and this one as well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna remove those. I'm just gonna replace these two tabs. I'm not gonna worry about the bolt here because it's been taken care of already, and then we can install it. Yeah, no, that's not gonna work because I can't remove them. Actually, I can remove them, but I won't be able to put the other ones because to remove them I have to grind the end here. They've been like mushroomed, the ends, like literally hammered, and that's the only way to remove them. I can grind these and pull them out, but when I put the other ones, how am I gonna tap them there to make them stay? So what I'm gonna do instead, I'm not gonna remove them, I'm just gonna turn them with the flat part up maybe. So you see now the flat part is here, I don't know if you see. The flat part is pointing up. The part that has stress obviously is here on the front because that's what pushes against the bearing. So I'm just gonna turn the pins 90 degrees and that's where I'm gonna leave them. Yeah, this one won't turn. Maybe this way. Yeah. Yeah, the flat part is now up, and now we have brand new surface here to work with. Okay, so we're gonna put grease here for the bearing, the carrier to slide on back and forth, and we're gonna install the carrier with the release bearing. There you go. Okay, now we can install it in the car. No. That went easy. Okay, so I have the transmission mounted. I have the starter bolted too, but we will see if it is a good one or not. And I turned this adapter to point down. Okay, now the gaskets here are different for the different tiers, so I hope I bought the right one. Looks like I did. Yep. Now what's left is the intake manifold with the carbs, but they are in a really bad condition, so I guess that's my next job. That's what I'm talking about. They look a little bit dusty. But you know what, again, we're gonna clean them up, not perfectly, we're just gonna clean them up somewhat so we can install them and try and start the engine. And then we're probably gonna take them out again, rebuild them and everything. But for now, I think we're gonna just clean them enough to install them on the engine. Famous last words. So anyways, that's my next job. Well, I know, I'm being too optimistic by thinking that I can test start the car with these carbs. Like everything, the pistons move more or less, but everything else is seized. So even the linkage here is seized. The choke levers are barely moving. The throttle, of course, is not moving because the linkage is seized. So I'm gonna take them apart and I'm gonna clean them properly. I'm gonna take the bolts out. I'm gonna see what's inside check the diaphragms and everything. So yeah, I was in a hurry a little bit because I wanted to try and start the engine today, but that's not gonna happen. Let's do the job properly. Okay, the manifold is in high heat primer. Later we're gonna paint it with high heat paint. So in the meantime, let's focus on the carbs. So I'm not gonna touch the adjustments because I believe that the engine was running with these carbs at some point. So I'm just gonna try to keep them as they are, and if the engine starts, then we can adjust them later. But for now, I'm just gonna clean them up and make sure everything is moving properly, because if it is not, we're in trouble. Here this is moving, but you see this is not moving. This lever here is supposed to be moving and pushing over there. You see this L shape or J shape actually lever. Oh, actually it moves here, but you see it's supposed to push this shaft in and out. Huh. There you go. The shaft started moving. Okay, so it just needs a little bit, but you see this is supposed to, the shaft is supposed to push out the lever like this when the throttle is down, and when the throttle goes back to idle, it's supposed to push it back in this shaft here. But when we push the throttle down, this shaft doesn't move, and it's supposed to move. It's supposed to go down and open whatever it's opening there. I'm not a carb specialist, so it started moving there, but the problem is this lever here is pretty stuck. So that's why we need to clean everything here to make sure that everything is moving as it should. We're gonna check the throttle. Actually, I can take it out, and I don't know if I'm gonna take it out. Yeah, maybe I'm gonna take it out and clean all this. We're gonna open the constant depression chamber here. I'm not gonna explain way too much. I explained in a video recently when we were working on another set of CD cards. So I'm not gonna explain too much, but we're gonna open here. We're gonna check the diaphragm. If it is still in one piece, there are no holes. We're gonna see how this motion is pretty good on this piston. That's good. I'm gonna take apart the float bow. We're gonna see if the float is going up and down, if it is closing as it should, if it is clean inside. If it's not, we're gonna clean, and that's basically it. So I'm gonna keep you here just so you can see, but I'm not gonna show the entire process. I believe this is operated by temperature, but again, I don't know much about this. I know more or less how they function, but I'm not specialist, so I don't want to give you wrong information. Let me open the chamber first. Still oil in them. That's good. Yeah, the diaphragm actually looks in a pretty good shape. The needle, for now, we're not gonna touch it. It can go up and down, and this gets seized many times, but now it looks like this one is moving all over, so we're not gonna touch it so we don't damage it. how far I'm gonna go for now. I'm gonna try to clean everywhere here, and then we're gonna take the bow apart. I don't want all the garbage to go inside the bow now. So let's try and clean it here. Okay, that's as best as it can be without investing way too much time right now, because we're gonna have to take it apart anyways later and rebuild it. There are many things that I want to do. I want to change these seals here for the throttle shaft. I want to change all the gaskets here. The gasket was missing. So yeah, they're gonna have to come apart again, and at that time we're gonna clean them. We're gonna take toothpicks and Q-tips and all kinds of chemicals and whatever we need to do. I'm gonna do my homework even, and probably we're gonna go into more details, what does what and how exactly the carburetor works. But for now, whatever needs to be cleaned so it can operate properly is clean. The rest is cosmetical. I also cleaned all the hardware here and everything as far as I could, and now let's assemble it. Again, I'm not gonna go into too many details while assembling it, so I'm gonna play music for you. Okay, one done, one more to go. Making sure again that everything is moving freely, everything went back in place as it was. No extra hardware, only the mounting one. The choke is operating properly, the throttle is operating properly, and even this little lever now is going down when it is not pushed up by the throttle shaft. I didn't touch the settings at all, so everything is as it was. And yeah, one done, one more to go. Then we're gonna do the linkage here. Wow, it's so seized, doesn't want to budge. And so we're gonna clean this as well, and then we're gonna put them on the car and try to start them. Like I said, one day we're gonna take them apart, clean them properly. Maybe I'm gonna bring even my ultrasonic cleaner from home. We're gonna clean them properly, we're gonna rebuild them, and we're gonna be good to go. All right, so the manifold is painted and installed. The carburetors are somewhat cleaned, but that doesn't really matter because everything is functional. They function pretty well. Well, I haven't tightened the linkage yet, but everything is operational now. Everything works well, and I'm not worried about the first start. Oh, that took quite a bit of time, but I'm happy that I did it because I was rushing it. I wanted to try and start the car today, but actually I realized that that's stupid of me. I'm gonna do it the proper way. So I cleaned the carbs. I'm gonna install the exhaust. I was gonna start it even without the exhaust, but I'm gonna put the exhaust in, and I'm gonna have to install the radiator, of course, all the hoses and everything. So it's not a good idea to rush it through. Also gauges, I have a temperature gauge here and oil gauge, which came apart for whatever reason. Anyways, and I want to do the wiring properly. I want to do the gauges properly so we can keep an eye on the temperature and on the oil pressure. So yeah, and there's no point of rushing it. I was rushing because it's Friday today, and next week we're gonna start with a big project in the shop, which is gonna take a few weeks or even months. That transit over there that you see. So I'm not gonna have too much time for this car, so I was rushing it so I can start it at least now, but I don't know. We will see if next week we find a little bit of time here and there. We're gonna work a little bit on it again. Hopefully one day we're gonna be able to start it. If not, it's gonna be in a month or so, but I'm happy that we brought it to this stage. So anyways, I think I'm gonna put an end to this video here, and I'm gonna start a new video fresh when we're gonna install the rod, the hoses, the gauges, the exhaust, and we're gonna eventually start the car. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for commenting and subscribing, and stay tuned for more. So stay tuned. Bye.